Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The Flower Adornment Sutra, Chapter 39, Entering the Dharma Realm. At that time, the world-honored one was at the kingdom of Shravasti in the Jeta Grove, in the garden of the benefactor of orphans and the solitary, inside the great towering pavilion, together with a gathering of 500 Bodhisattvas Mahasattvas, universal worthy Bodhisattva, and Manjusri Bodhisattva as leaders of the assembly. Bright flame banner Bodhisattva, Sumeru banner Bodhisattva, jeweled banner Bodhisattva, unobstructed banner Bodhisattva, flower banner Bodhisattva, living filth banner Bodhisattva, sun banner Bodhisattva, wonderful banner Bodhisattva, living dust Bodhisattva, universal light banner Bodhisattva, earth awesome might Bodhisattva, jeweled might Bodhisattva, great might Bodhisattva, Vajra might wisdom Bodhisattva, living filth might Bodhisattva, proper Dharma sun might Bodhisattva, meritorious virtue mountain might Bodhisattva, wisdom light reflection might Bodhisattva, universal auspicious might Bodhisattva, earth treasury Bodhisattva, empty space treasury Bodhisattva, lotus treasury Bodhisattva, jewel treasury Bodhisattva, sun treasury Bodhisattva, pure virtue treasury Bodhisattva, Dharma seal treasury Bodhisattva, brightness treasury Bodhisattva, navel treasury Bodhisattva, lotus virtue treasury Bodhisattva, good eyes Bodhisattva, pure eyes Bodhisattva, living filth eyes Bodhisattva, unobstructed eye Bodhisattva, universal seeing eyes Bodhisattva, good contemplating eyes Bodhisattva, blue lotus flower eyes Bodhisattva, Vajra eyes Bodhisattva, jeweled eyes Bodhisattva, eye of emptiness Bodhisattva, happy eyes Bodhisattva, universal eyes Bodhisattva, heavenly crown Bodhisattva, universally illumining the Dharma realm wisdom crown Bodhisattva, way place crown Bodhisattva, universally illumining the 10 directions crown Bodhisattva, all Buddha's treasury crown Bodhisattva, transcending all the worlds crown Bodhisattva, universally illumining crown Bodhisattva, indestructible crown Bodhisattva, maintaining all thus come ones lying throne crown Bodhisattva, universally illumining the Dharma realm and emptiness crown Bodhisattva, Brahma king called Bodhisattva, Dragon king called Bodhisattva, all transformation Buddhas light called Bodhisattva, way place called Bodhisattva, sounds of all the ocean light vows jeweled king called Bodhisattva, all Buddhas like money called Bodhisattva, manifesting all of emptiness level marks money king adorned called Bodhisattva, manifesting all thus come one spiritual transformation money king banner night draped called Bodhisattva, emitting all the sounds of Buddhas turning the Dharma wheel called Bodhisattva, speaking all names and sounds of the 3 periods of time called Bodhisattva, great light Bodhisattva, living filth light Bodhisattva, jeweled light Bodhisattva, living dust light Bodhisattva, flaming light Bodhisattva, Dharma light Bodhisattva, still and quiet light Bodhisattva, sun light Bodhisattva, self-mastery light Bodhisattva, heavenly light Bodhisattva, blessings and virtue banner Bodhisattva, wisdom banner Bodhisattva, Dharma banner Bodhisattva, spiritual penetrations banner Bodhisattva, light banner Bodhisattva, flower banner Bodhisattva, money banner Bodhisattva, Bodhi banner Bodhisattva, Brahma banner Bodhisattva, Universal light banner Bodhisattva, Brahma sound banner Bodhisattva, mountains clanging together sound Bodhisattva, pervading all sounds of the Dharma realm Bodhisattva, shaking all Dharma seas thunderous sound Bodhisattva, subduing demon sound Bodhisattva, great compassion expedient cloud and thunderous sound Bodhisattva, quelling all world sufferings comforting sound Bodhisattva, Dharma ascended Bodhisattva, Atma superior Bodhisattva, wisdom superior Bodhisattva, meritorious virtue Sumeru superior Bodhisattva, meritorious virtue Coral superior Bodhisattva, renown superior Bodhisattva, universal light superior Bodhisattva, great kindness superior Bodhisattva, wisdom seed superior Bodhisattva, Buddha seed superior Bodhisattva, light victory Bodhisattva, virtuous victory Bodhisattva, superior victory Bodhisattva, universal brightness victory Bodhisattva, Dharma victory Bodhisattva, moon victory Bodhisattva, empty space victory Bodhisattva, jeweled victory Bodhisattva, banner victory Bodhisattva, wisdom victory Bodhisattva, Sala self-mastery king Bodhisattva, Dharma self-mastery king Bodhisattva, elephant self-mastery king Bodhisattva, Brahma self-mastery king Bodhisattva, mountain self-mastery king Bodhisattva, multitude self-mastery king Bodhisattva, swift self-mastery king Bodhisattva, still and quiet self-mastery king Bodhisattva, non-moving self-mastery king Bodhisattva, strength self-mastery king Bodhisattva, most superior self-mastery king Bodhisattva, still and quiet sound Bodhisattva, unobstructed sound Bodhisattva, earth-shaking sound Bodhisattva, ocean-shaking sound Bodhisattva, cloud sound Bodhisattva, Dharma light sound Bodhisattva, empty space sound Bodhisattva, proclaiming all living beings good roots sound Bodhisattva, manifesting the sound of all great vows Bodhisattva, way place sound Bodhisattva, Sumeru light enlightenment Bodhisattva, empty space enlightenment Bodhisattva, living defilement enlightenment Bodhisattva, unobstructed enlightenment Bodhisattva, good enlightenment Bodhisattva, universal illumining the three periods enlightenment Bodhisattva, vast great enlightenment Bodhisattva, universal bright enlightenment Bodhisattva, Dharma realm light enlightenment Bodhisattva. These Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, 500 in all, were Bodhisattvas who had accomplished universal worthies conduct and vows. Their states were unobstructed because they universally pervaded all Buddha Kshatriyas. They manifested measureless bodies because they drew near to all thus come ones. Their pure eyes were unobstructed because they beheld all of the Buddha's spiritual transformations. They went to limitless places because they forever traveled to where all thus come ones accomplished proper enlightenment. Their light was boundless because their wisdom light universally illumined all the seas of actual dharmas. They spoke dharma without exhaustion because they had inexhaustible pure eloquence throughout boundless kalpas. They were equal to the realm of empty space because their conducts of wisdom were all purified. They had no reliance whatsoever because they accorded with living beings' minds in manifesting form bodies. They had destroyed the cataract of stupidity because they realized that the realm of living beings had no living beings. They had wisdom which was equal to empty space because their great brightness illumined the Dharma realm. There was also a gathering of 500 sound hearers in the assembly, all of who had enlightened to the truth. They had certified to the reality limit and deeply entered the Dharma nature. They had forever left the seas of existence, relying upon the Buddha's merit and virtue. They had separated from the bondage of the knots and servants and dwelt in the place of non-obstruction. Their minds were still and quiet like empty space. At all the Buddha's places, they had cut off doubt and delusion. With regard to the sea of the Buddha's wisdom, they profoundly believed and entered. There was also a gathering of measureless world rulers who had made offerings to measureless Buddhas. They could always benefit all living beings and act as companions that did not need to be asked. They forever diligently guarded their vows and never forsake them. They entered into the world's supreme doors of wisdom and were born from the Buddha's teachings. They protected the Buddha's proper Dharma and gave rise to great vows to never let the Buddha's seed be cut off. At that time, all the Bodhisattvas, the greatly virtuous sound hearers, the kings of the world and their retinue, all had this thought. The thus come one's practices of wisdom, the thus come one's aids, the thus come one's powers, the thus come one's fearlessness, the thus come one's samadhis, the thus come one's dwellings, the thus come one's masteries, the thus come one's bodies, the thus come one's wisdom, are such that in all worlds all the gods and humans cannot penetrate them, cannot enter them, cannot believe and comprehend them, cannot understand them, cannot accept them, cannot contemplate them, cannot select them, cannot explain them, cannot proclaim them clearly, cannot enable living beings to understand them, except by the power of the Buddha's aids, the power of the Buddha's spiritual penetrations, the power of the Buddha's awesome virtue, the power of the Buddha's original vows, the power of good roots from previous lives, the power of having been gathered in by all good knowing advisors, the power of deep and pure faith, the power of great understanding, the power of tending toward the pure mind of Bodhi, and the power of great vows to seek all wisdom. We only wish that the world honored one will accord with us and all living beings, with our various desires, various understandings, various wisdoms, various languages, various senses of self-ease, various grounds of dwelling, various purities of faculties, various expedients of intentions, various states of minds, various reliances on the thus come one's merit and virtue, various hearings and receptions of the Dharmas, and show us how the thus come one sought the mind of all wisdom in the past, how he brought forth the great vows of a Bodhisattva in the past, how he purified all the paramitas in the past, how he entered the grounds of Bodhisattvahood, how he perfected Bodhisattva conduct in the past, how he accomplished expedients in the past, how he cultivated the various paths in the past, how he obtained the dharmas of liberation in the past, how he wrought all spiritual penetrations in the past, what the causes and conditions of his deeds in the past were, how he accomplished equal proper enlightenment and turned the wonderful Dharma wheel, how he purified the Buddha countries and subdued living beings, how he opened up the city of the Dharma of all wisdom, how he entered into the dwelling of all living beings, how he accepted what all living beings gave, how he explained for all living beings the merit and virtue of giving, how he reflected for all living beings the images of all Buddhas. We wish that you, the Buddha, would speak all of these dharmas for us. At that time, the world-honored one, knowing the thoughts in the Bodhisattva's mind, used great compassion as his body, great compassion as his door, great compassion as his head, and the dharmas of great compassion as his skill in means. He completely pervaded empty space and entered the lion-sprint samadhi. Upon entering this samadhi, all worlds became universally adorned and purified the great adorned towering pavilion suddenly expanded in length and breadth until it was boundless. Vajra made up its ground, regal jewels covered it over, and measureless jeweled flowers and all money were universally scattered within it, abundant and overflowing everywhere. Vaidurya served as its pillars, inlaid with multitudes of jewels, and was adorned with great light money jewels. It was studded over with Jambunada gold, and as-you-will gem kings were spread on top as adornments. There were tall towers juxtaposed, with turrets and walkways branching out from all sides. There were pillars and houses supporting each other, and inter-reflecting windows and doors. The courtyards, porches, and railings, all were replete and resplendently ornamented with wonderful jewels. These jewels were in the shapes of human and gods. They were solid, firm, and wonderfully fine, foremost in the world. Money-jeweled nets were draped on top of them. At the doorways were erected banners and streamers, all emitting bright light, which pervaded the Dharma realm. Outside of the way-place were stairways, balustrades, and railings, their number measureless, none of which could be described, and none that were not completely fashioned of money. At that time, due to the Buddha's spiritual powers, the Jeta grove certainly became vast, so that its measure was equal to Buddha lands, which were as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. It was adorned and interspersed with wonderful gems of all kinds. Ineffable gems covered its earth. Asankheyas of jewels served as its walls, and jeweled tala trees adorned its pathways. In between were measureless fragrant streams, brimming with fragrant waters, rapidly flowing ringed and whirling. The jeweled flowers whirled to the right and spontaneously proclaimed the sounds of the Buddha Dharma. Inconceivable jeweled pundarika flowers emitted profuse fragrance, lacing the water's surface. Variegated jeweled trees in blossom were planted in rows along the shores. All sorts of pavilions and arbors, all inconceivable, were also arranged in lines on these shores, and were covered over by money-jeweled nets. Asankheyas of jewels adorned the ground. Multitudes of wonderful incense were burning, pervading the atmosphere. Moreover, there were erected measureless jeweled banners of all kinds, such as jeweled fragrance banners, jeweled cloth banners, jeweled silk banners, jeweled flower banners, jeweled beaded banners, jeweled garland banners, jeweled bell banners, great money-jeweled banners, bright and pervasively illuminating money-jeweled banners, emitting the sounds of all dust-come ones, titles, money king banners, lion money king banners. Speaking of all the dust-come ones, sea-like former lives, money king banners, manifesting all the images of the Dharma realm, money king banners. All of these pervaded the 10 directions and were arranged in rows of adornments. At that time, within the Jeta grove in empty space, there were inconceivable clouds of heavenly palaces, measureless tree clouds, ineffable Sumeri mountain clouds, ineffable music clouds emitting fine and wonderful sounds in praise of the dust-come one, ineffable jeweled lotus clouds, ineffable jeweled throne clouds arranged with heavenly garments, upon which sat Bodhisattvas who praised the Buddha's merit and virtue. There were also ineffable money clouds in the image of all the heavenly kings, ineffable clouds of white true pearls, ineffable clouds full of adorning pavilions of red pearls, ineffable solid pearl clouds raining down Vajra, all of which hovered in empty space, circulating and filling it as adornments. Why was it this way? because the dust come once good roots are inconceivable. Because the dust come once pure dharmas are inconceivable. Because the dust come once awesome strength is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability to transform and change his one body at ease and pervade all worlds is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability to use spiritual penetrations to cause all Buddhas and Buddha countries to become adorned and enter into his own body is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability to within one single dust mode universally manifest all the images of the Dharma realm is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability within one single hair paw to manifest all Buddhas of the past is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability to emit light at any time and to have each light pervasively illumine all worlds is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability within the single hair paw to emit clouds of transformations, which are as many as the dust motes in all Buddha Kshatriyas, and which fill up all Buddha lands is inconceivable. Because the dust come once ability within one single hair paw to universally manifest all the worlds of the 10 directions, going through the kalpas of formation, dwelling, and disintegration is inconceivable, just as in this Jeta grove, in the garden of the benefactor of orphans and the solitary, where one could see the Buddha lands become purified and adorned, so too, in the 10 directions throughout the Dharma realm, the realm of empty space, and all world realms, this could also be seen. That is to say, seeing the dust come one's body dwelling in the Jeta grove, which was completely pervaded by the multitudes of Bodhisattvas, seeing clouds that universally rain down all precious light and illumination, seeing clouds that universally rain down all money gems, seeing clouds that universally rain down all adorned canopies that covered over the Buddha Kshatriyas, seeing clouds that universally rain down all the bodies of heavenly gods, seeing clouds that universally rain down all flowers and trees, seeing clouds that universally rain down all trees of garments, seeing clouds that universally rain down all jeweled garlands and beads continuously without stop, and which pervaded all of the great earth, seeing clouds that universally rain down all sorts of adorned instruments, seeing clouds of all fragrance that universally rain down in the shape of living beings, seeing clouds that universally rain down all subtle and wonderful jeweled flower nets continuously without cease, seeing clouds that universally rain down all heavenly maidens who, holding up jeweled banners and streamers, floated about within empty space, seeing clouds that universally rain down all the multitudes of jeweled lotus flowers, the petals of which naturally gave forth all sorts of musical sounds, seeing clouds that universally rain down all lion thrones adorned with jeweled nets and necklaces. At that time, in the east, beyond seas of worlds, as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshatriyas, was another world called Golden Lamb Cloud Banner. The Buddha's title was Vairochana, Supreme Virtuous King. Within that Buddha's assembly was a bodhisattva called Vairochana's Vow Light, who together with bodhisattvas as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshatriyas came to the Buddha's place. Using their spiritual powers, they conjured up all sorts of clouds, that is to say, heavenly flower clouds, heavenly fragrance clouds, heavenly powdered incense clouds, heavenly garland clouds, heavenly jeweled clouds, heavenly adorned objects clouds, heavenly jeweled canopy clouds, heavenly subtle and wonderful garment clouds, heavenly jeweled banner and streamer clouds, and heavenly clouds of all wonderful jeweled adornments, which fill up all of empty space. After coming to the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon, to the east, transformationally created a jewel-adorned towering pavilion and a jeweled lotus treasury lion throne that universally illumined the 10 directions, with an as-you-will jeweled net that covered his body, and together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the south, beyond seas of worlds, as numerous as dustmotes, in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was another world called Vajra Treasury. The Buddha's title was Universal Light Unsurpassed Treasury King. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva called Indestructible Vajra King, who together with Bodhisattvas as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas came to the Buddha's place. They were holding all sorts of jeweled fragrance nets, holding all sorts of jeweled necklaces, holding all sorts of jeweled flower ribbons, holding all sorts of jeweled garland ribbons, holding all sorts of Vajra necklaces, holding all sorts of money jeweled nets, holding all sorts of jeweled garment ribbons, holding all sorts of most supreme brightness money ribbons, holding all sorts of lion money jeweled necklaces. Using their spiritual powers, they pervaded all the seas of worlds. After coming to the Buddha's place, he bowed to the Buddha's feet, and thereupon to the south, transformationally created a towering pavilion adorned with money jewels, and a jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne that universally illumined the 10 directions, with a many-flowered jeweled net covering his body, and together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the west, beyond seas of worlds as numerous as dust motes, in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was another world called Mani-jeweled Lamp Sumeru, Mountain Banner. The Buddha's title was Dharma Realm Wisdom Lamp. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva called Universal Supreme Unsurpassed Awesome Virtue King, who together with Bodhisattvas as numerous as the dust motes in seas of worlds came to the Buddha's place. Using their spiritual powers, they conjured Sumeru mountain clouds of all sorts of paste incense and burning incense that were as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds of all sorts of colored fragrant water that were as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds of all sorts of bright light money jeweled kings, equal to the dust motes in all of the great earth, as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds of all sorts of bright flaming wheel, like adorned banners, as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds of multicolored Vajra treasury money king adornments, as numerous as the dust motes within ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds of universally illumining all worlds, Jambunada mani jewel banners as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds manifesting all the Dharma realms money jewels, as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds manifesting all the Buddha's fine marks, money jewel kings as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds manifesting all the dust come once former events and causes and conditions, and speaking of the practices of all Bodhisattvas' conducts, money jewel kings as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. Sumeru mountain clouds manifesting all Buddhas seated in the Bodhi way place, money jewel kings as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetras, and all of these fill up empty space. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon to the west, transformationally created an all-incense king pavilion with a jeweled net of real pearls that draped it from above. He also transformationally created Lord Chakra's reflection banner, jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne, with a wonderfully colored money nets that covered his body, and a mind king precious crown adorning his head. Together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the north beyond seas of worlds, as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetras, was another world called Jeweled Garment Bright Banner. The Buddha's title was Illumining Empty Space and Dharma Realm Great Brightness. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva called Unobstructed Supreme Treasury King, who together with Bodhisattvas as numerous as dust motes in seas of worlds, came to the Buddha's place. Using their spiritual powers, they conjured all sorts of jeweled garment clouds, that is to say, yellow-colored jewel-like garment clouds, perfumed with various fragrances garment clouds, sea banner money king garment clouds, gold-colored blazing money garment clouds, all jeweled like flaming garment clouds, all superior wonderful monies in the image of stars and constellations garment clouds, white jade-like money garment clouds, brightness pervasively illumining supreme dazzling money garment clouds, brightness pervasively illumining awesome strength blazing money garment clouds, adorn sea money garment clouds, and these fill up the empty spaces. After coming to the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon to the north, transformationally created a money-jeweled sea-adorned towering pavilion, and a Vaidurya jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne, with a lion's awesome virtue money king net covering his own body, and a pure king of jewels as a bright pearl in his core. Together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the northeastern direction beyond seas of worlds as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetras was a world called All Delights Pure Like Net. The Buddha's title was Unobstructed Eye. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva called Transformationally Manifesting the Dharma Realm's Vows Moon King, who together with Bodhisattvas as many as dust motes in seas of worlds, came to the Buddha's place. Using their spiritual powers, they conjured jeweled pavilion clouds, Chandana pavilion clouds, Vajra pavilion clouds, Mani pavilion clouds, Gold pavilion clouds, Lotus flower pavilion clouds, and covered all the worlds of the 10 directions. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon, to the northeastern direction, transformationally created all of the Dharma realm's doors great money towering pavilion, and an unequal fragrance king lotus flower treasury lion's throne, with a money flower net covering his body, and a wonderful jeweled treasury money king that served as his crown. Together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the southeastern direction beyond seas of worlds, as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetras, was a world called Fragrant Cloud Adorned Banner. The Buddha's title was Dragon Self-Mastery King. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva named Dharma Wisdom Like Flame King, who together with Bodhisattvas as many as dust motes in seas of worlds, came to the Buddha's place. Using their spiritual powers, they conjured gold-colored perfect light clouds, measureless jeweled colored perfect like clouds, the dust come once hair marked perfect like clouds, vari-colored jeweled perfect like clouds, a multitude of jeweled tree branches perfect like clouds, the dust come once summit called perfect like clouds, Jambunada gold colored perfect like clouds, sun colored perfect like clouds, all of which completely fill up empty space. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet and thereupon to the southeastern direction, transformationally created a Vairochana, most superior jeweled light, towering pavilion, and a Vajra money lotus flower treasury lion's throne, with a net of multi-jewels like flaming money king, covering his body, and together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the southwestern direction, beyond seas of worlds as numerous as dust motes, in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was a world called Sunlight Money Treasury. The Buddha's title was Universal Illumining All Dharma Wisdom Moon King. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva named Smashing All Demon Armies Wisdom Banner King, who together with Bodhisattvas, as many as dust motes in seas of worlds, came to the Buddha's place. From every hairpaw he emitted clouds equal to the realm of empty space, that is, flower flame clouds, fragrant flame clouds, jeweled flame clouds, Vajra flame clouds, burning incense flame clouds, lightning flame clouds, Vairochana money jeweled flame clouds, all golden light flame clouds, Supreme Treasury Money King light flame clouds equal to dust come once throughout the 3 periods of time. Every one of these came forth from his hairpaws and completely fill up the realm of empty space. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet and thereupon to the southwestern direction, transformationally created the universal manifesting in the Dharma realms of the 10 directions brightness net with money jewel towering pavilion and the fragrant lamp flame jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne with a living filth treasury money net covering his body and wearing a crown which emitted the sounds of all living beings resolve, money king ornament, together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the northwestern direction, beyond seas of worlds, as numerous as the dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was a world called Vairochana Vow, Money King Treasury. The Buddha's title was Universal Brightness Most Supreme Sumeru King. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva named Vow Wisdom Brightness Banner, who together with Bodhisattvas as numerous as dust motes in seas of worlds came to the Buddha's place. From all of his thoughts, all of his fine marks, all of his hairpaws, all sections of his body, he emitted clouds in the shape of all Bodhisattvas, clouds in the shape of all the dust come once assemblies, clouds in the shape of all the dust come once transformation bodies, clouds in the shape of all the dust come once bodies in their present lives, clouds in the shape of all sound hearers and Pacheka Buddhas, clouds in the shape of all dust come once Bodhi places, clouds in the shape of all dust come once spiritual changes, clouds in the shape of all world hosts, and clouds in the shape of all pure countries. These fill up empty space. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon to the northwestern direction, transformationally created a universally illumining the 10 directions money jeweled adornment towering pavilion, and a universally illumining the world jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne, with an unsurpassable brightness, real pearl net covering his body, and wearing a universal brightness money jeweled crown, together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the direction below, beyond seas of worlds as numerous as dust motes, in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was a world called All Thus Come One's Perfect Light, Universal Illumination. The Buddha's title was Unobstructed Appearance of Empty Space, Wisdom Banner King. Within that Buddhist assembly was a Bodhisattva named Smashing All Obstacles Courageous Wisdom King, who together with Bodhisattvas in the number of dust motes in seas of worlds came to the Buddha's place. From all his hairpaws he emitted clouds that speak the sounds of the seas of all living beings' languages. He emitted clouds that speak of the sounds of the seas of experience cultivated by all Bodhisattvas of the 3 periods of time. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of the seas of experience brought forth by the vows of all Bodhisattvas. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of the seas of experience from the pure paramitas accomplished by all Bodhisattvas. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of all Bodhisattvas' perfected conduct that pervades throughout all Kshetriyas. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of all Bodhisattvas accomplishing the function of self-mastery. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of all thus come ones, going to the way place, smashing the hosts of demon armies, accomplishing the equal proper enlightenment and its function of self-mastery. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of all thus come ones turning the Dharma wheel to bring entrance into the sutras and the seas of titles. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of seas of experience in all the opportune dharmas of teaching, transforming, and subduing living beings. He emitted clouds that speak the sounds of the sea of experience, which in accord with the time, in accord with good roots, and in accord with vow power, can universally cause living beings to certify and attain wisdom. After he arrived at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon, to the lower direction, transformationally created a multi-jeweled towering pavilion in the shape of all thus come one's palaces, and an all-jeweled lotus flower treasury lion's throne, adorning a universally manifesting in the way place, many-jeweled crown, and together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. In the direction above, beyond seas of worlds, as many as dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, was a world called Buddha's seed nature without exhaustion. The Buddha's title was Universal Wisdom Will Bright Light Sound. Within that Buddha's assembly was a Bodhisattva called the Dharma Realm's Different Vows, who with Bodhisattvas as numerous as dust motes in seas of worlds started from their way place and came to this Saha world, to the place of Shakyamuni Buddha. From all of his fine marks, all of his hairpaws, all of his body shares, all of his joints, all of his objects of adornments, and all of his garments, there appeared all the Buddhas of the past, such as Vairochana Buddha, all Buddhas of the future, those who have received a prediction, and those who have not yet received a prediction, and all present Buddhas in all the countries of the 10 directions, together with the multitudes of assemblies, and there also manifested the seeds of former deeds of the dana paramita practiced in the past, and all the recipients of his giving, and there also manifested the seeds of former deeds of the sila paramita practiced in the past, and there manifested the seeds of former deeds of the paramita of vigor practiced in the past, of the kanti paramita practiced in the past, of cutting off of his limbs and how his mind did not move, and there manifested the seeds of former deeds of the paramita of vigor practiced in the past, and of his non-retreating courage, and there manifested the seeds of former deeds of his search of all the dust come ones dhyana paramita in the past, and how he attained accomplishments, and then manifested the seeds of former deeds of his search of all Buddhas turning the Dharma wheel, of the Dharmas accomplished, of bringing forth courageous mind, and of his renouncing all things, and then manifested the seeds of former deeds of his delight in seeing all Buddhas in the past, his delight in practicing all the Bodhisattva paths, his delight in transforming the realms of all living beings, and then manifested the seeds of former deeds of his resolve on all Bodhisattvas' great vows and pure adornments, and then manifested the seeds of former deeds of the Bodhisattva's accomplishment of the paramita, of power in the past, and then manifested the seeds of former deeds of paramita, of wisdom cultivated by all Bodhisattvas in the past to perfection. All of the above seeds of former deeds completely pervaded and filled up the vast and great Dharma realm. After arriving at the Buddha's place, he bowed at the Buddha's feet, and thereupon, to the direction above, transformationally created an old Vajra treasury, adorned towering pavilion, and an imperial blue Vajra King Lotus flower treasury lion's throne. An all jeweled like money king net covered his body, and the bright pearl of his core was made of money jewel kings that proclaim the thus come one's titles in the 3 periods of time, and together with his retinue, he sat in full lotus. All of the above Bodhisattvas and their retinues from the 10 directions were born from universal worthy Bodhisattvas' practices and vows. With a pure wisdom eye, they beheld the Buddhas of the 3 periods of time. They universally heard all the Buddhas thus come ones turning the Dharma wheel of the seas of sutras. They arrived at the other shore of all Bodhisattvas' self-mastery. In every thought, they manifested great spiritual transformations and drew near to all Buddhas thus come ones. With one body, they filled up all the thus come ones assemblies and way places. Within the single dust mote, they universally manifested all the states of the world and never missed the right moment to teach and transform all living beings. Within a single hair paw, they emitted the sounds of all thus come ones speaking the Dharma. They knew that all living beings are like an illusion. They knew that all Buddhas are like a reflection. They knew that all the destinies and paths of rebirth are like a dream. They knew that all karmic retributions are like a reflection in a mirror. They knew that all worlds are like changes and transformations. They accomplished the thus come one's 10 powers and fearlessness, his courage and mastery. With a lion's roar, they profoundly entered the great sea of limitless eloquence. They obtained all of living beings' seas of words and languages, the wisdom of all dharmas. In empty space, their actions were unobstructed. They knew that all dharmas are unobstructed. With regard to the states of all Bodhisattvas' spiritual penetrations, they have all been purified. With courage and vigor, they smashed and subdued the demon armies. Constantly using wisdom, they understood the 3 periods of time. They know that all dharmas are like empty space. They were without discord or contention. They also had no grasping or attachment. Although they diligently cultivated vigor, they knew that all wisdom ultimately do not come from anywhere. Although they contemplated all states, they knew that all of existence cannot be got at. With expedient wisdom, they entered into all of the Dharma realm. With level wisdom, they entered into all countries. With the power of self-mastery, they caused all worlds to revolve and mutually entered into one another. In all places of the world, they manifested the receptions of birth, They saw all the different shapes and forms in all worlds. Within a subtle and tiny state, they manifested a vast great kshatriya. In a vast great state, they manifested a subtle and tiny kshatriya. At the place of one Buddha, within one thought, they obtained the aid of all the Buddha's awesome spirit, universally viewing the 10 directions without any confused illusion, and within one Kshana, they could travel anywhere. All of these Bodhisattvas filled up the Jeta growth, aided by the Thus Come One's awesome spiritual power.